silly dog. You're a silly dog. Yes. Yes, you are. You are a silly faggot. Yes. Okay, a video idea I've had for a while. Since I can't really bless you with badass murder, kill, rape, hunting videos anymore, I developed some stories in my time. So I could make a series of hunting story videos. And like the last video, haven't rehearsed this or bullet pointed it or anything, so once I find my rhythm and get in the mood here, I'll tell you probably my best duck hunting story. Okay, so my buddy Logan and I were going duck hunting one morning. I don't know if we filmed yet. I really don't think we did. We might have, but I think this was before we filmed. So, it was a snowy morning, and to the point where we were hunting, no, I'm sure we weren't filming because of where we were hunting, because I'd moved on to bigger and better things by the time that I started filming. Okay, so it's a snowy morning and we're going hunting, and as the crow flies to our hunting spot, it's 2.6 miles. And so, to carry our decoys and all that shit, we're packing them on sleds. We're dragging sleds over the snow. I can't remember what mine was called, but I'm probably dragging, I think I was still hunting with full bodies then too. So I was dragging floaters and full bodies. I was dragging a sled full of shit, and so was Logan. And we're probably a good mile and a half into our walk when this happens. And this was the last time we ever carried our guns in bags on the sleds. So we're walking along this morning. It's probably 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and we're walking to our hunting spot, and it's a long, it's not a fun time. It probably takes you a good 45 minutes to an hour just to get to where you're gonna hunt, and you're dragging a fucking sled that weighs at least 50 pounds the whole way there. So we get about halfway there, and I hear this fucking, this horrendous fucking guttural growl, and the sound of Oz just like a bear tearing through the fucking brush. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so I pull my sled, and I drop my sled. We're hunting on a canal. And I run down to where Oz is, to where the sound's coming from. Turn my headlamp on, and there's Oz and a raccoon in a rolling at-sea battle, because Oz is just an obstinate piece of shit. There's many stories about Oz and vermin, porcupines, raccoons, possums. They don't get along. Anyways, so there's Oz at sea, at battle with this raccoon. And this raccoon is trying to jump on Oz's head and drown him. And Oz is trying to get a hold of the raccoon so he can drag him into shore where he can touch. Well, they're on this kind of borderline where Oz can barely touch with his hind legs, and the it's a very, very fucking even fight between the two of them, because Oz can barely touch, and he's trying to get a bite when he can and drag him his way, and the raccoon's trying to drown Oz. And so now I'm like, what the fuck? Because I don't have a gun. My gun's in a bag on the sled, and Oz is in the water, and I don't have waders, and even if I did have waders, I don't know if there's really anything I could have fucking done about it. So I yell at Logan, "Logan, give me my gun." Meanwhile, Oz and this raccoon, I don't know if you ever heard a raccoon growl, but the raccoon's growling, and Oz is, they're trying to kill each other. Legitly trying to fucking kill each other in the water, right in front of me, and there's nothing I can fucking do about it. And I'm yelling at Oz this whole time. Well, Logan goes and gets my gun out of the bag on the sled. He brings my gun to me. In the meantime, I have Gore-Tex boots, so I'm in the water a little bit, and they're still going at it. And Oz is kind of listening to me, but not really. And I get Oz to get close enough to me that I can get a hold of him. Like, I think I grabbed him by the tail the first time, because I could give a shit about the raccoon. I just want to get my dog away from him, right? So I'm pretty sure the first time I grabbed Oz, it was by the tail, and I just drug him away from the coon. So eventually, this is when Oz still wore a collar, which definitely before I made videos, because I don't know when I quit putting a collar on Oz, but anyways, so I finally get a hold of Oz, and not by the collar quite yet or whatever, and I'm yelling at him, screaming, and him and the raccoon are still going at it, and eventually Logan brings me my gun, and I load a shell in it. I realize I only have one shell in my pocket, and then I get a better hold of Oz, and I have my shotgun in one hand, Oz in the other, and I'm kind of like cradling my shotgun under my elbow and holding my dog while they're still fucking going at it. And so I'm trying to get a good shot off, but I mean, mind you, this is like 1 foot from the muzzle, so you're either dead on or you dead miss. Anyways, I finally find a sight picture, I think, it's one-handed, shooting from the fucking hip, and I shoot. And I fucking sever this raccoon's arm, one of his upper arms, I don't remember if it was his left or right, at the elbow. And this thing's fucking hanging by a tendon. I'm trying to shoot him in the fucking head, and I miss, and I shoot him right in the fucking arm. Like, because he's kind of crunching at me, and he's ducked over, and I shoot him right in the elbow. I've never seen so much fury come out of an animal as I saw that moment. Because the fight that I saw before had me pretty scared and pretty rattled. But after I shot that raccoon and pretty much severed his arm, pretty much blew his fucking arm off, he goes completely apeshit all over Oz's head. And I lose Oz, and they go back out into the fucking water. And I only had one shell in my coat pocket. So now I have an empty fucking gun, I've lost my dog, and I have an ultra fucking pissed off raccoon all over my dog in the water, and short of swimming on like a snowy fucking December morning, 1.5 miles away from my car, there's nothing I can fucking do about it. Well, I keep yelling at Oz, and fucking I'm freaking the fuck out. I'm screaming at him. It's a pretty fucking serious situation. Logan doesn't have any ammo either. His gun is also in a bag, and my ammo's in a bag on the sled. Well, Oz fucking finally realizes maybe he's a little beat or whatever, and I get a hold of him again, and I drag him up, and Logan picks up a fucking rock and fucking smashes this coon on the head, like over the head with a rock, hits the coon right on the fucking top of the head. And this coon fucking Superman's in the water, and he's close to the bank, because I was dragging Oz up, so I mean, he's not out in the main current, he's just kind of floating around next to the bank, and I'm more concerned about Oz. So, coon's knocked out, I'm looking at fucking Oz, worried about how Oz is doing, looking at his face, he's all scratched up, he's fucking bleeding a little bit and shit. Anyways, I determine Oz is okay, and I look back at the coon, and the fucking coon's gone. So I look out into the canal. Not quite halfway across the canal, here's this fucking coon swimming on his back with his severed arm over his chest, fucking staring me right in the eyes as he swims with his back legs fucking across the canal into the fog and into the fucking darkness. It's pretty much the end of it. Oz was okay. We went and hunted. I don't remember how good of a hunt we had that day. We did go and hunt, you know, and carried on or whatever. Well, about 2 years later, I'm hunting on the other side. Not quite the opposite side. I'm hunting 3/4 of a mile downstream on the opposite side of the canal. Chasing a crippled bird way out in the field. So good, I don't know, good mile and a half kind of towards the car, more or less perpendicular towards the car. 3/4 of a mile away from the canal, 3/4 of a mile downstream on the canal. Anyways, I'm looking for a downed bird. Oz goes a little birdie, goes a little fucky or whatever, because, you know, I got Oz out there quartering into the wind. We're looking for a bird. It's what we do. And Oz goes a little fucky, so I go over to him to see what he's on. It's a decently fresh raccoon carcass. And I take a little closer look. Out of fucking blind curiosity and remembrance, I look at that fucking thing. And it's missing one arm at the fucking elbow. The shit you see. I don't know. I got more hunting stories. More Oz and fucking animal encounters. That wasn't the first and it wasn't the fucking last, and just probably the most ironic and probably the one that rattled me the most, because I really thought, you know, for a few minutes there that Oz was probably pretty fucked. But yeah, cheers. Hunting story number 1.